Let's dive into a topic that you can come back to again and again as you manage data for a nonprofit. What makes a quote-unquote good output? These are 5 guidelines that you can follow as you examine your existing outputs and think about new ones for your organization. I'm Ryan from CountBubble. We're here to help small nonprofits gain the skills and tech tools they need to track and report their impact. Find us at countbubble.com. Recall, this is our made-up organization that we're using in these videos, the CountBubble Community Collective. And looking at our services for this made-up organization and the output examples we see, we have outputs for most of our services, but not all of them. And we also see that the services we provide pretty clearly match up with the outputs that we use to track them. So the question, what makes a good output, is what we're here to answer. How do we define them so that they're clear and easy to track and good for reports? We described our made-up organization, the CountBubble Community Collective, and we highlighted some of those outputs. We've listed a few of them on the top of this slide. Looking at these output examples, we can see that they have some common elements. First, they clearly define the work that the nonprofit does or did, and they can be used to track the quantity or amount of that work. So we provided 1,000 meals. We helped with 25 resumes. We offered 500 tutoring sessions, and so on. The thing we did was provided meals. The quantity or amount was 1,000 of those meals. The thing we did was tutoring sessions. The quantity or amount was 500. When we start looking at outputs, they need to clearly define the work the nonprofit did, and they need to be capable of tracking the quantity or amount of that work. Maybe that's a number, so 10 meals. Maybe that's true, false, yes, we did it, no, we didn't. Maybe that's they attended class or they didn't attend class. It can be lots of ways that we track the quantity or amount, but they have to be able to do that to be a good output. Next, outputs should really track one thing, not multiple things that you did. Look at the top of this slide and you'll notice helped with 25 resumes does not say helped with 25 resumes in job applications. That's 2 things. A resume is a thing and a job application is a thing. Sure, they normally go together, but they're still 2 distinct things, 2 distinct different activities. And in fact, we might create 1 resume and use it to apply to 5 or 10 jobs. What if we help with 25 resumes, but 100 job applications? If we track those 2 things together as some kind of bundle, how would we record it? It would get messy really fast. Now, this example is easy. Those 2 activities are so clearly different that you might think this is an unlikely mistake. But remember our organization. It has 2 clothing services, the clothing service and the work clothing service. But the output we originally used to track them was provided outfits, and it tracked both of those services. Now, in this case, these 2 services are very similar. We're giving out clothes, but they're still distinct services. The problem here is the same. The output is not tracking one and only one thing, so we had to fix that. We updated our outputs so they tracked one and only one thing. Now we track our clothing service using provided casual clothes, and we track our work clothing service using provided work outfits. So good outputs track one thing. It's easy to make that mistake, so be cautious. Next, outputs focus on the work itself. Outputs are the things you do. I'll keep saying that until you hate it. Now, we did interview practice sessions for a reason, right? We had a bigger goal in mind. Maybe it was to help people get jobs or promotions, but the output we track is focused on the work itself. Outputs don't explain the potential benefits of the work. For example, getting a job or a promotion, or doing well in school if it's a tutoring session. The benefits of the outputs will be your outcomes. And again, another video, another day. For now, we stay focused on the outputs. The outputs focus on the work that was done, not its impact. Finally, we've discussed this before. Outputs focus on the what, not the who. The who is critical information for most nonprofits to collect. But when we're defining and tracking outputs, the who is additional information that might go along with the output. Okay, so with these 5 guidelines in mind, it's time to put them to work. At the end of the Defining Outputs video, we asked you to list some of your organization's outputs. And if you haven't watched that video yet, take a minute to do so. Or just list 5 to 10 outputs that your nonprofit tracks or could track right now. Take some time to examine your list of outputs. Are they good outputs? Answer each of these questions about the output you listed. Does it or can it clearly define the work you do or the service you provide? Does it or can it track the quantity or amount of work? Does it or can it track one thing, not multiple things? Does it or can it focus on the work that was done, not its impact? And finally, does it or can it focus on the what and not the who of the work? If you say no to any of these questions, how can you revise the output to make it better? I think this exercise is particularly helpful if you're testing out ideas for new outputs that your nonprofit could track in the future. Okay, up next, I want to take a quick look at tangible and intangible outputs.